Hi everyone, Kat here, doing my first guest interview. I chatted with Hispanic Redshift, our avian expert on the Discord, and was surprised to learn that when it comes to accurate wing anatomy, Dev Sisters is surprisingly okay at it.
Yeah, they actually are. It's not really what I'd expect from a game with a cartoony style and little care for realism, but
here we are doing a video about cookie wings.
Exactly.
Alright then. Now, as an FYI to viewers, we will not include Awaken White Lily in this chat. We recorded before she was released. But that aside, sorry, White Lily, but your wings more resemble a flower arrangement than anything else.
Apology accepted, I guess.
Great. So now, let's dive into each of the 5 winged cookies and see just how realistic they are. Looks like Angel Cookie is number 1 on the chopping block.
Well, Angel Cookie's got a relatively simplistic wing shape, something expected of a common cookie. Compared to some other entries we'll cover, though, I'd say they have some of the most accurate wings when compared to real-life birds. In fact, the wing measurements on their gacha art match how wings would look on a humanoid's, wide to the point of reaching their legs, with a total wingspan being twice or more the height of the humanoid. Their wings resemble real-life hummingbirds, whose wings rely on high-energy movements centered on the shoulder joints, rather than the wrist joint of the wing. However, when it comes to flight, Angel Cookie's wings don't really match any birds.
None?
Wings just don't move like that, not even on humanoids. All birds require an up-down motion, including hummingbirds, but hummingbirds in specific tend to rely on hovering. Hovering is done via generating lift through wing flapping alone, rather than letting air and wind assist as is typical for standard flight and the wind hovering used by other birds, such as kestrels, terns, and hawks. Since this requires such high energy expenditure, most birds can't uphold hovering for long periods of time. If we take into account the fact that Angel Cookie has wings suited for hovering rather than standard flight, it's entirely feasible their inability to fly is both an issue of wing size and a lack of knowledge on how to fly. They move their wings as though they were any other bird, notable with how the feathers fold downwards when their wings dip lower. If they were to adjust their flight to match a hummingbird's, their wings would remain extended all the way through the length of their flap.
Gotcha. Well, as long as we're on the angel theme, let's chat about our other little cherub cookie, Pavlova, second. Any real-life bird's wings that his resemble?
Not really, no. His wings are far too tiny for proper flight, let alone anything sustained. I'd guess his wings to be similar to a passerine, songbirds and the like, but the simple fact of he should not be able to fly with wings that tiny remains. Similar to Angel Cookie, Pavlova's cookie's in-game flight doesn't really work when applied to humanoids.
Makes sense. Seems like that's going to be a trend with these cookies, huh?
Very likely. Back to wing shape, though, it just doesn't work with any bird, really. Too tiny, feathers are too large, etc.
But Pavlova also has his aged-up form.
So, wings don't bend like that. Seriously, what are his wings doing?
Okay, now I can't unsee it.
There is this loading screen of Pavlova and Sugarfly resembling the Eros and Psyche statue. That shows us a bit more on what his wings looks like spread out, but it throws my passerine theory out the window. His wings resemble a swift's here more than anything.
And we never get sprites of older Pavlova flying, unlike how we get animations of the younger Pavlova. So I guess that leaves the results for him kind of inconclusive. But I believe up third for our discussion, we've got the Golden Sovereign herself.
Yep, Golden Cheese Cookie. Now, again, she suffers from Cookie Run Kingdom's animations making winged characters float rather than fly. And of course, her wings are artificial, so I don't expect them to be too accurate. Especially in her base form, her wings lack definition, and the feather shape is far from real birds. But I can draw conclusions as to what birds could feasibly match. Similar to the way Golden Cheese's wings have those triangle indents, a vulture's natural wing shape has slotted primary feathers for soaring-focused flight that allows them to circle their prey. Considering how Golden Cheese is referred to as diving at others like a bird of prey by Hollyberry, it's safe to assume that if she's not specifically vulture-based, she is based on a bird of prey.
Ah, so Hollyberry's trying to give us some hints here, huh? Now, Golden Cheese gets different wings after her disagreement with Burning Spice. Do those change much from her old ones?
Well, yes and no. Golden Cheese's awakened design improves on her wings, adding layers and depth, but it keeps the same slotted shape as before.
So, still very bird of prey-like, as Halle Berry would say. I believe we're at cookie number 4 now, and that's Eternal Sugar Cookie. What are your thoughts on her?
Well, she just about gave me an aneurysm. At first glance, her wings look pretty good. There's depth feather layering, you can see the ventral coverts, and even a bit of the dorsal coverts as well. Then you look at the actual shape of her wings, and everything starts to fall apart. Where's the width? No bird wings are that thin at the base. What are you even doing, bro?
So, another cookie whose wings don't quite resemble any real birds.
Yeah, she more resembles the stereotypical depiction of angels, but that's remarkably fitting for her. It's almost painfully common for statues and artwork to depict angels as lacking secondary feathers and having larger primaries in contrast.
Okay, now that's another thing I can't unsee.
But you're smarter now.
That's true. I'll take it. Continue.
So, while Eternal Sugar's wings can't be applied to any real birds, their symbolism makes up for it in spades. She's designed to look like an angel, and that comes before any bird resemblance. So, while trying to figure out how her wings could feasibly work gave me a headache, I can forgive this.
Alright then. Our 5th and newest winged cookie is Doil. Another angelic cookie, but a much different design.
True, but similar to Eternal Sugar, their wings here are way too thin at the base. Considering their name is an obvious spin on the archangels of Christianity, though, it's clear the symbolism behind their wing design comes before anatomical accuracy. It's also pretty evident that Doil is meant to resemble a seraphim, having more than one set of wings.
It's an intimidating look for sure. What about when Doil is drawn in different styles?
Well, if we check out their default sprite, things do get a bit better than their gacha art. Here, their wings have a bit more anatomical accuracy. I'd say they're most similar to a falcon in shape, with an angular, aerodynamic shape for the primary feathers. What really sold the falcon similarities for me was how the coverts of their wings ended up resembling an alula, aka a false wing, which is most commonly seen on falcons.
So, of the 5 wing designs, would Doil's be your favorite, or would it be someone else's?
Doil is certainly my favorite. Looking at a lot of their sprites and animations, the wing anatomy used is significantly more accurate than any other cookies thus far. Of course, having wings on your head makes flight just about impossible, but the actual anatomy used is defined and well made. If you look at their designs from the back, their secondary wings even look like a bird's tail in some shots, though whether or not that be a standard wedge tail or a scissor tail depends entirely on how the secondary wings are positioned. If I were to give any cookie an award for most accurate wing design, it'd go right to Doil. Overall, I'd say Dev Sisters has a pretty good handle on keeping wings stylized but accurate. They're not afraid to throw accuracy out the window for the sake of symbolism, though.
Sounds like a solid stance for them to take considering how story-driven the game is. Oh, wait, I almost forgot. We should analyze Wind Archer's wings from his costume. Should I add an extra number here, or...?
No need. I'll give you the short version. Resplendent Wind Guardian's wing anatomy was thrown out the window of a moving car at 100 miles per hour.
We'll keep the list at 5, then. Thanks again for all your insight, and thanks everyone for watching. If you like this video, make sure you hype it and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, happy reading and happy cookie training!